Welcome back to the channel. Game preservation is something that Phil Spencer recently talked about, and he said that legal emulation is the key to allowing games from the past to be available in the present and the future. Every gamer should be able to purchase any game from any generation and enjoy them. Preservation was the focal point of a recent interview that he gave, and backwards compatibility is a huge selling point for Xbox. I really love the idea of just being able to play games that I purchased on the Xbox 360 digitally, having them just show up in my library, or even purchase original Xbox games. They've done a great job this generation. No one can deny that. And recently, they've added 76 new titles to the backwards compatibility library, and it is one of the biggest and most complete catalogs on any system when it comes to playing games that you own in the past, or being able to purchase old games right now in the present and ensure that those games are available in the future. However, something interesting happened. After dropping those 76 titles, Microsoft made an announcement. They said the backwards compatibility is done. It's over. They're not going to release anything new backwards compatible. They're not going to fund that anymore. I think it's really important first to point out that nobody has been more proactive in delivering games backwards compatible than Microsoft. Once they made that announcement that 360 games would be playable on the Xbox One, they continually added a ton of games, and then original Xbox games were added. They've done the work. They've delivered a lot of games, and I, for one, use it constantly. And I think it's a very, very important feature. It's one of those features that I think is underrated at times, and maybe at times overrated as well. It's a feature that you'd rather have and not need than need and not have. And I, for one, use it quite a bit. But I thought it was interesting that Phil Spencer talked about preservation and how important that is for the industry and for Microsoft. I think they've demonstrated that through the backwards compatible program, but then to turn around and say, we're done. So what were the reasons they gave for being done with adding games to backwards compatibility? They said licensing fees, which again amounts to money, and technical issues, which again amounts to time and money. Overall, this is a very costly program, and I don't think they're willing to keep putting out the money that it takes to keep that program growing anymore. And this is where it becomes interesting, because if preservation and legal emulation is the key to keeping games alive and to making them available to any and every generation, and Microsoft believes in that, they're one of the wealthiest companies in the world. If they're unwilling to fund that, to keep that going, then really, who's going to do it? If not them, who? And I don't think anybody at this point. So we're going to have backwards compatible PS5s with PS4s, and Xbox Series X and S's with Xbox Ones, and then conceivably in the future, the PlayStation 6 should be compatible with PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. But I think the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One generation are going to be as far back as we go buying new consoles in the future, because it just doesn't look like anyone's willing to spend that money anymore to keep older games alive on newer hardware. And again, buying your games physically, plugging in your system and playing them doesn't ensure that either, because physical games today are not physical games. Even 10 or 15 years ago, most of the information doesn't even come on the disc anymore, and developers rely on an internet connection to patch their games. So what are you preserving really if you don't update your games? You're preserving the broken version of a developer's game. So unfortunately, it looks like backwards compatibility is over. There are a ton of games on the original Xbox and the 360 that I would love to be able to play, but I don't want to discount all the work that they've done. They have the biggest and they have the best backwards compatible program in the business, but it is sad. It looks like there are going to be no more games added to this program, and going forward with the issues that they've listed, it doesn't look like it's going to happen at all anymore. Let me know what you think in the comments section below about this news. Are you disappointed, or do you understand that eventually we're going to have to just look to the future instead of looking to the past? Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.